Okay, we're live. Right? What's up, guys? This is my best friend. I know I already went live. I wanted to include him. Right? This is a good conversation. So I wanted to include him in it, and I think it will be a better dialogue than just me talking. So it will be more fun. So I'm sorry that I cut out that live to start a new live, but it is what it is. I think this is more. It's a better conversation, more fun. So I probably will upload this as a whole video. So it is what it is. But yeah, let's see. So I'm gonna play a video so you
Okay.
can get the gist of what we will be talking about tonight. Okay.
The woman who called a 5-year-old a racial slur. My first impression after watching the video, a little bit of white trash. I have to be honest, the kid was 5. I have worked with 5-year-olds for the last 15 years. Absolutely everything they do is out of pocket. They're like little unhinged drunk people. Nothing they do makes sense. A 5-year-old is capable of rifling through somebody's bag and taking things that don't belong to them. Ask any kindergarten teacher. But I realize why so many people are wanting to defend this. Because Black fatigue is real. I think society as a whole is there. We are just so unbelievably fed up with the ghetto ratchet behavior, entitlement, the victimhood, that they want to praise this woman. But what she did is not praiseworthy. But also, on the same hand, please remember that every day that us white people get on this app, we get called racial slurs every single day. So if you don't want to be called a racial slur, you also have to stop calling people racial slurs. You can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. But for the love of God, please leave the children out of it. Adults are stupid. They're going to do stupid things. You're a different level of stupid when you bring kids into it. Thanks for coming to my team.
So basically what this woman is saying is that two things can be true at the same time. I said this the other day when this whole situation first broke out, and then we had the panel on Monday night, where I basically said that white people are starting to get fed up, and that is the whole premise behind Black fatigue, is that nobody wants you to continue to play victim for the rest of your life. They tired of being held accountable for things that their ancestors did. They tired of you blaming all of your failures and things that you weren't able to accomplish on white people. They're tired of you sitting there saying that you're a victim every single day, regardless of what your circumstance is, regardless of what you've been given, regardless of all of the affirmative action, regardless of the fact that you're saying that you're the most educated, but really you're the most enrolled. They tired of you blaming your debt on the system. They tired of you saying that white men are the problem. They tired of you asking for programs, and they're tired of being held accountable for the decisions that you're making every single day.
She'll be watching her back for the rest of her life. Yeah, because that's not thuggery, hoodrattery, animalistic. This is why people have Black fatigue. When you act like this, it's not normal behavior. People do stupid stuff. People say stupid stuff. That's life. It's not normal to threaten to unalive people because you don't like what they're doing. But here we are. People are getting sick and tired of opening up TikTok and seeing brawls on cruise ships, brawls in the airport, like literally the most ghetto behavior. We're tired. We're tired of it. But then why are you complaining and acting like it's not your fault that you act that way? Yeah.
And so that comment proved her right. And for whatever reason, y'all think that the white people don't have eyes, that people that are not Black don't have eyes, and they can't see how ghetto a lot of this is. I have to pay for it because I got to go out and account for what you did.
This is why I want to include my friend. Right? It gives a different perspective, gives a different take. Because last week or so, we went to watch Sinners, okay, and we had a very interesting, racial conversation. So I wanted to essentially continue it or add to it. So this is why I'm gonna tell you this. This is gonna be a long live. So hopefully you can stand through it. Right? Because we have a bunch of things we want to talk to. So what is your views? What are your thoughts on what you just saw?
What is she complaining about? What is she complaining about that she can't ignore?
Well, here's the thing. I've kind of talked about this when we were talking about Sinners. We are constantly inundated about race. Everything is about. it's like you didn't see. I had a couple of videos pretty much showcasing it and talking about it, but we are every week. It's inundated racism. You're racist. This is racist. That is racist. Everything is racism. Everything is like, you know what? It's a showcase of just negativity. It's just showcase. It's like we are constantly talking about race. We're constantly inundated by race, and we're also, this is a thing where I said this in another video, but we're probably going to have some videos to showcase it. This is the thing. I said this where I can never understand why Black people do not care about their public image. They don't care how, if people view them differently, and yet they want people to treat them the same. This is a thing where we have, it's okay for, let's say, society, for you to perpetuate a negative image to society, yet you don't want society to treat you negatively. So we have a lot of, maybe what she's saying, right? Because social media is it's a powerful tool, but it's also a lot of negative, where you can see that we constantly see a whole bunch of, like at the end she said, a lot of fighting in airports, fighting on cruise ships, because let's say I have videos on that too. So, but that's kind of gist. We will have videos where we will expand on it more. But what is your initial thoughts?
That's why people view me differently before they even know me, right? They don't have to see me. This doesn't make me any different except for that. That changes my life because that changes my experiences. That changes the way people view me from afar, based on stereotypes that aren't true and that I haven't had a chance to address. In their mind, they see my color and think a million different things about me that I haven't had a chance to address or defend about myself. So I don't have a choice but to be inundated by it, right? But that lady has a choice. She can ignore it. This idea that like everything you see online represents an entire race of people, like that's not possible. It's not possible for that to represent an entire race of people.
Let me say this. It is. Because let me say this, right? Because here's the thing where I think this is the problem. I said this in videos. I said this early in the live, or in the last live. It's that you don't fight against it. You don't have a counter image. There's no counter, because this is the thing where we understand that stereotypes come from something. There are images of stereotypes. The most popular media perpetuates stereotypes. No one talks against it. No one fights against it. It is fine for that to be the image, because we have to understand that thanks to social media, the image is on a world stage. No one talks against it. No one counteracts it. Because here's the thing. Just like you said, your skin tone. Well, I could do the same. I could do the same. But the problem is that this is the thing where I'm not letting it bother me. I'm not letting it hold me back. I'm not letting it define me. We are having a problem, in my personal opinion, that today, more than ever, more than the past, Black people are letting their skin tone define them. And I honestly believe that's shackles. Because I talked about this, where I believe it's a shackle that is holding the Black community back. Because this is who you are, but you make it who you are instead of who you are inside. And this is a problem where, yes, Black people, there are differences, but let's not be foolish on how social media, stereotype, and entertainment works. Because I can say this too, and I said this earlier, where I hate Asian stereotypes. I hate Asian jokes, because Asian jokes perpetuate Asian stereotypes. I hate that. And I will speak. to me, I rarely, if ever, laugh at Asian jokes because I don't agree with it. I will be very vocal about it because I think that is a bad image for the Asian people. I think that perpetuates Asian stereotypes. You know, how Asian people talk, how Asian people act. No, that is just it's a negative viewpoint. So I will speak out about it because I don't believe, and I don't believe it should be how Asian people are viewed, and I hate it how Asian people are viewed, and that's how Asian people are viewed, right? This is a thing where, and this is where it's funny because I live predominantly in Black communities. In my personal opinion, right, I experience more racism than you. I mean, you could tell me wrong, but there's not a week that goes by where, again, I don't think it's right or wrong, but it is how the world is. I have Black people doing the whole ching chong thing, right? Being technically racist to me. I don't care, right? But that's the thing where I'm saying where I this is the thing where we have to understand where let's not, as a group of people, we shouldn't let these things hold us down, hold us back. And I think right now, more than ever, Black people are using it as the excuse to hold themselves down.
When we saw Sinners, was there anything in there that that perpetuated? I mean, all right, we saw the whole movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me, what in the movie perpetuated a bad?
So what I hated, I told you this when we did the review, or when we talked about it. The part that I hate the most was that dance scene.
Okay.
I hated that the most.
Why?
Because in that dance scene, it perpetuated, right? It perpetuates stereotypes. What the booty shaking, the twerking, the thug like dresses, you know.
But now, do you remember that scene?
I do. There's other parts to the scene.
Well, that's my point. That's my point. So there was a scene of a girl in there twerking, right? But I was part of the scene. There was a Black guitarist, right? Referencing Brucey Collins.
And I don't
the DJ. The main character was a gentleman who could sing and play guitar, right? This is just in that scene, right? In the movie, there was the main characters. Michael B. Jordan plays two guys who take their money and try to open a juke joint. And there was they show them coming to town, they show them meeting other musicians, they show them meeting people of different cultures and backgrounds, right? In that entire movie, the thing you viewed as negative, you zeroed in on.
Yes.
So many other examples of positivity. And I don't personally think that twerking is necessarily a negative thing, but hold on. But that's the thing you zeroed in on. That's the whole story. That's a microcosm of what happens all the time. So you can tell me that, like that lady, she can talk about videos she saw of violence, or what she calls ratchet, involving Black people, and say, why are Black people like this? And she completely ignored the fact that a Black man just made the most successful movie of the year, right? He made the most successful business deal of the year in Hollywood, because he made a deal.
I know the business deal.
He made a ton of movies.
You got the back end.
She didn't say anything about the skill of the Black actors in that movie. Who Michael B. Jordan, I think it could be up for actor of the year, right? She didn't mention anything about other Black musicians and artists who have done positive things in the world. She didn't mention anything about Black people who have contributed to society with inventions and with ideas and with writing. She didn't mention any of that. The only thing she mentioned, and decided by herself, she decided that represented a whole race, was what she didn't like. That's the problem, because we'll say Black people are like this. Most Black people are like this. Black people act like this. Black people do that. The third, and completely ignore all the positives. Nobody ever zeroes in on a positive thing that a black person does and says black people are like this. They never do that. They never do that. So that's the problem, right?
Here's my thing. I said this, right?
Why isn't that the black stereotype? Because there's just as many, even more examples of black positivity. It's like this. Nobody sees it. Nobody believes it exists.
Because this is how I see it, right? I said this where I said I like the movie. I said I like the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a thing
where
I'm
not just saying the movie, because that lady wasn't even talking about the movie.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm more talking about how I viewed it, right? Yes, I liked the movie. I said how I thought the acting was great and all that stuff. Where I'm more things that this is the problem where I believe, in my personal opinion, black people have an image problem. They have an image problem.
That's my okay. Go ahead. Explain.
I believe that they have an image problem because I said this in a video that I said that do I have it? Well, I said this. I think rap music was one of the downfalls of the black community because again, it perpetuates a negative image. So why I focused, yes, I like the movie, but why that one scene really stuck with me? Because honestly, sometimes I just feel like in this day and age, right? This day and age, what I said that's when we were watching the movie, where, you know, if it was in a microcosm, right, without not made and with all the background of today's day and age, I don't think I would even care. I think I wouldn't even notice it. But the issue is that, like I said, where I think black people have an image problem is that is the issue, where that is what you want to represent. That is what you want to show off. And I think that is hurting the black community. I'm not saying the movie itself. I'm more saying that the public image of the black community. And in my personal opinion, I think this is how society works as a whole, where usually the worst is more showcased than the best. Right? People remember the bad more than they remember the good. And I think that's for all, right? I think that's any kind of situation. I think because this is a thing where, let's say this, Germany, what do we know? We would know only their worst things. China, we will really know. It's like, I think the worst is usually sticks with people's brains more than the best. I think that's just how I see it. But let's hold on a little bit and because I still have a lot of videos, so I want to get to, and we'll slowly dive in more deeper into it.
Who is this guy?
The guy?
Yeah,
he's a I guess call it an influencer. He has a decent. Seriously, I have a bunch of videos I want to react to with him. Okay, and we will, if you ever come, you will see him more. But he's a black entrepreneur, you know, a millionaire. So he's pretty, you know, he does a lot of black people content, and he speaks on the issues. And I think that's the thing where that's the problem where, great, you know, you want to here's the thing where I said this with like shame, that I believe the black community has taken away shame in their community. There's no, people don't care how you look. Let's say twerking, right? That is fine for them to do because they don't care how it makes the black community looks. That's where I say, like, you know, the negative images in the black community, no one cares about. In the black community, I'm not saying outside, I'm saying in the black community, nobody cares about, because they don't speak out about it. They don't speak against it because they don't care if that's how the black community is viewed. But we'll talk more about it.
Will rob, jump, scam, and kill our own people with no hesitation whatsoever. Will rob, jump, scam, and kill our own people with no hesitation whatsoever. Preaching we gotta stick together while setting up your own brothers and snaking your own sisters. Love blaming the society for why our neighborhoods look like war zones while cheering for the very culture that keeps them that way. talking about black pride while rapping about murdering each other, turning women into baby mamas, and making it seem like being broke, violent, and ignorant is a personality trait. Everybody want to scream support black businesses, but will run to Gucci before you ever spend $1 with your own people while looking for a hookup at the same time. We want to whine about gentrification, but won't invest in your own community.
There you go.
Trash it, and then cries when somebody else moves in and builds it the f up. And then the worst part, y'all expect every black person to fall in line with this ideology. Because how dare a black person think for themselves, right? How dare someone not subscribe to this self-inflicted victimhood? Y'all want unity? Start by looking in the mirror. The truth is, black folks ain't even for black folks. The biggest threat to black people ain't Trump, it ain't the police, it ain't white people, it's us. It's our own self-hatred, our own refusal to hold each other accountable, and our own addiction to playing the victim while glorifying the very that holds us back. Who's out here shooting up black neighborhoods? Not Trump. Who's rapping about killing each other, robbing each other, and treating our women like trash? Not Trump. Who's making our own communities unlivable, unsafe, and uninvestable, then crying about it and wondering why they won't build up our neighborhoods? Not Trump. Who raised us to fear and hate each other more than any racist system ever could? We did that to ourselves. But now, let's keep blaming everything on racism, while we kill, rob, and destroy our own at a rate the Klan could only dream of. Let's keep pretending every black person is on the same team when half of y'all wouldn't even piss on another black person if they were on fire. Y'all would film it and yell World Star. Let's keep screaming about oppression while cheering on the destruction of our own communities. Y'all don't want justice. Y'all don't want unity. Y'all don't want progress. You just want an excuse to stay in the same cycle while blaming everyone else but yourselves. We love you.
I said this. I said this before. Okay, why do I talk about it? Why do I focus on it? I said this in my other videos when it comes to men and women dynamic. I have a big thing about accountability and a big thing about victimhood. I am a big proponent against them, or I'm for accountability against victimhood. And this is my problem, where how I see it, that is what the black community as a whole, not individually, that's where they fall. They lack accountability and they constantly perpetuate victimhood. That's how I see it, or at least the landscape of social media, in my personal opinion. Okay. In my personal opinion, let's say I walk down every day. People are not screaming about white people this, white people that. People are not screaming about racism, at least in my everyday life. I'm around black people every day. So, black people aren't, a screaming oppression and white people are doing this. They're not caring about that shit. They're living their own life, right? But as social media goes, entertainment goes, that is a constant. Okay. So I think maybe maybe we should make a more distinction where social media entertainment is very divisive, and that's what they show. It's constantly talked about. In real life, I'll say this, right? How I believe it, I don't think black people are experiencing racism that much in everyday life, or in their life at all. So I don't think black people actually care about all this talk and shit, about racism and all that shit. I that's how I view it. But I'm more in the mindset of, this is what we're perpetuating. This is the propaganda that social media is churning out. Okay. And I think that's a dangerous propaganda, where it's constantly inundating us about talks about racism, talks about, oh, you shouldn't blame your actions in your life of why you are at the stage in life that you are. No, blame the white man, blame the white system, blame everyone else but yourself. You are the one who is the victim of society, the victim of your past, the victim of white man. And I think that's a propaganda that's hurting the community. So that's how I view it. And in my personal opinion, this brother said it amazingly. What he said was, I 100% agree, and that's how I see it. So what do you think?
I think he used a lot of, what's the word? I think he over dramatized and generalized so that he could sound good on video. He doesn't sound like anybody who's sincerely interested in helping his community get better. If I see a problem in my family, I'm gonna go talk to my family about it, right? And offer suggestions for help. But I'm not gonna get on a platform and make them look bad in front of everybody else, right? Especially with his, I don't know why I can't remember the word, but he's like black people are killing each other at a rate higher than anyone else ever could. Poor people people who commit crimes where they are, right? So
I want to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to say something about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I agree 100%.
You think that because I'm black, I'm more likely to commit a crime?
No. That's not. No, I don't think that's.
There's more criminals in the black community because we're black.
I would say this, right? I agree that crime is of a vicinity thing. I agree that crime is an area thing. But here's where, and I love that you bring that up, because I hear that argument a lot. But this is my problem with it. How can you claim victimhood? Like, the white man is killing me. The white man is doing this to me. But you are fine with killing your brothers and sisters. So how can you claim the struggles that the society is putting on you, yet you don't see the struggles you put on yourself? Why I say is that this is the thing where I said this before. I believe this before. You cannot throw stones at a glass house when your house is made out of glass as well, or what is it? Whatever it is that your house isn't in order, but yet you want to talk about other stuff, right? And I think that's how I see it with society now. How can you claim victimhood when by society as a whole towards you, okay, as the community, but yet your community is not up to par? This is why I say this, because one of the things where I hate, let's say, the talk about foreign issues, right? The country where we're talking about the Middle East, we're talking about other countries. I hate that. I do not agree with caring about foreign countries, because us as America isn't at its best. So in my personal opinion, I've always said this. I believe America first. America first. Everyone else, dead last. So I don't give a shit of us caring about the Ukraine, about the Middle East, Israel, Pakistan, whatever. I don't give a shit until us as America is doing great, where 80%, 90% of us are not struggling. So that's where I think, that's why I'm consistent with that, where I believe that, you know what, let's care about us first, and then we think about the world. So I'll be consistent with the idea where I bring it to, let's say, in the micro, where this is the problem. The black community itself, they don't care about themselves as a community, but yet they care about how other people treat them as a community when they themselves are not a strong community. Right? They become strong when they're fighting against the white man, but when against each other, they don't care. They don't bring up these things. They don't bring up issues to light. This man, he's bringing up actual issues that's happening within the black community that, honestly, I hear no other people who have your idea, your mindset, talk about. No one.
I'm not saying that certain problems don't exist in the black community. But let's say I was a criminal or a gang member or something like that.
And he's not, guy. He's not.
Let's say I committed a crime like that. Why does my crime carry the weight of my whole community, right? If a white kid goes in and shoots up a whole school, do you suddenly believe that all white people are school shooters and murderers? If most serial killers in the United States are white, why don't we talk about the white community having a serial killing problem, right? If most white collar crimes are committed by white people, why don't we talk about white people having a problem with white collar crime and with mistreating their own? You see what my point is? Like when it
Let,
comes
let
to
me answer.
so like anything I do, one, I represent my entire community when I do it. And two, only gets highlighted if it's negative. So on top of being like everyone else in the world, where there are good people and bad people, and good things happen and bad things happen, and there are people in my community who don't commit crimes and people who do. On top of all of that, I also have to deal with the constant perception that it's only a black people problem. That's crazy. Like that's insane. So the whole discussion is built on a false is built on a false and an unfair assumption, right? That starts here. We're different. We're like the only group that gets singled out for everything wrong.
Here's my thing, right? Because this is my thing where I think that's honestly kind of wrong in the sense that, let's say this, white people do handle their problems. There are laws against that. They're fighting against it. But this is a thing where they're not screaming how the world's treated them, which is probably in a crazy cosm of that, because they are the leading race in the country. So they're not, but that's how it is. But I said this before, right? I said this before. You got to think about this. This is the problem with diversity. It is the problem with diversity. Okay, you name a country on this earth: China, Germany, Africa, Brazil. All those countries are not diverse, even to the close to the level the U.S. is. Most countries on this earth have only one race, right? 90%, even 99% of any country on this earth have only one race. So we are dealing with
that way,
huh?
Should America be that way? Is that what we're saying?
It doesn't matter. I'm saying that there's the drawbacks of being diverse. That's the drawback of being diverse. And I'm saying that those are the problems that we have to recognize. That's how it is, right? That's how it is to be diverse. So
let's just talk about like facts here. Let's just talk about facts for a second, right? Why are black people here in America?
Yes, because slavery.
So it did happen. That's I
Yes.
just want to establish it did happen, okay? Because people are like people, we cry victim, we're complaining about all these things. It did happen, didn't it? Right?
I agree. Yes.
It didn't happen to another. It didn't happen to another. Did it happen on the same scale to another race in America?
No.
Okay. All right. So we know that that's a fact, right? Slavery ends in 1865 officially, right? I mean, was it followed by Jim Crow? Did that happen too?
Yes.
Did educational segregation and redlining, did that really happen? It did happen, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so these negative things did happen. Did over policing and black neighborhoods happen? That happened, right?
Yes.
Okay, so these things really did happen, and they happened to black people in America. They really happened. It's real, right?
I agree.
And as a result of this, you do have things like neighborhoods that are only black, because my parents were only allowed to live in one place, right? And they weren't allowed to establish generational wealth. So we're already starting behind the 8 ball. And these are not things that are like, well, the results only last a week. No, they affect generations. So they did happen. But also, not only did they happen, but now on top of that, we're blamed for it. Okay. So
what do you blame for it?
Okay, so this is my point. Crime in another community, not committed by a black person, that criminal, we don't assume he represents his entire race. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're like, all right, we're put in these neighborhoods, these poor neighborhoods, and then we're over policed, and then we're blamed for having a crime problem. Like black on black crime it happens, right? But we act like black people are criminals because they're black. Like, these are terrible neighborhoods where these black people kill each other, and why don't you have any love for each other? And we don't do that to any other race. We don't, and that's what I'm saying. We're highlighting the negatives, and we're also ignoring the positives. My parents raised me well. I have a good job. In American history, there are many things that wouldn't exist if it weren't for black people who made it happen first, right? But we don't look at those positive examples and say, what a good example, what a black people are great. We don't look at those positive examples and say black people are great.
Okay, let's say this, right?
Examples and say black people are terrible and it's all their fault. And we only do that with black people. We don't do that with white people. We sometimes it's starting to happen with Hispanics, especially under this political regime with M13. Now suddenly anybody who's an immigrant here is illegal and a gang member. But that happens to black people primarily, and it's not fair. It starts with looking at them through an unfair lens and then blaming them for it. And if I complain about that, you're saying I'm crying victimhood, right? So, but it's really happening. My family, my lineage really came in here a difficult way, fought to get to the point where we are now. And the only thing that gets highlighted is the bad things. After slavery, after black people worked so hard to help build this nation, white people put out the authorities at the time put out these terrible lies about black people being lazy. How can you have been enslaved, spent your first 400 or so years in this country building the nation without getting paid for it at all and under abuse and duress, and then get called a lazy bum and allow that to be a stereotype that's not true? You see what I'm saying? Like, a lot of like the perception is not fair, and it's not something that I can control. Like, that lady got on the internet herself to talk about all the bad things she saw black people doing and ignored everything positive about the black community. But everything that negative that she saw, she said represented the black community, and I'm tired of black people. What am I supposed to do about that? I'm already putting out a positive example. I'm already being a good person, and she's ignoring me to look past me to find videos, and she's got to look through videos of white people doing some of the same things. She never points to any of that and said they're giving me white fatigue.
Here's the thing where
fair.
But here's the thing where
that's life, that's fine. But what am I supposed to do about it? So fuck the way she thinks about my image. I can't change if no matter what I do, I'm not going to change the way she thinks about me in her eyes. So I'm gonna ignore her.
But you can. That's the thing. This is the problem. This is the problem I'm seeing. Okay, this is the problem where I'm seeing where we have people who are. I said this before. They are fine with the black people public image. That's the problem. What you can do is, you know what? Just like that black man, speak against the negativity. Because this is the thing where
put negativity in the air. Because
we are fine to showcase it. We don't shame it. Look at this, right? We have, like, let's say, I've said this, the amazing thing with like black community is that they excel in entertainment. They are the pinnacle in American entertainment, right? They are the top.
And by the way, only because we remain spectacle. That's like tradition in America. Those were the only jobs that black people could get for generations, ones that entertain other people.
But they excel at it. So I think that's
excel at a lot of other stuff too that we ignore. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but see, this is the thing. I think, but this is the problem where it's not. You have to think where the lens. Guess what? Black community ignores it. I can tell you this. I can tell you this. How many times I've heard of a black mother trying to support her son to be a rapper instead of, a scientist, engineer, an architect, all these other things. So this is the problem. This is the problem where I'm saying this, where the mindset like you is what is damaging the black community. Where, I can't change people's point of view, so fuck it, whatever. But that's the problem.
Somebody's point of view,
huh?
What should I do to change somebody's point of view?
Speak about it. Speak against it. Okay, the things that are negative. I have this guy, right? This guy that.
In time in this country where black people had some wonderful music that everyone would enjoy and love. Now it sounds like fucking shit. You can't sit back.
You can't say that kind of generalization. That's his point. Oh, go ahead. I'm listening.
In time in this country where black people had some wonderful music that everyone would enjoy and love. Now it sounds like fucking shit. You can't sit back and listen to any of this garbage. It's terrible. A lot of you artists out there lack the soul, lack the passion, lack the effort that was put into a lot of this music that people love all around. The soul, the essence, the spirit that came from black music is fucking gone. Now for ass shaking and weed smoking and drinking, all it is fucking gone. How did y'all ruin something so fucking good for your own personal selfish gain? And I'll start talking, well, the white people did it. Well, the white people told us to do it. You let it happen. How the fuck did we go from King Lattimore and Kim to, I don't even know, what the fuck do we have today? Odd Wave, that's what we got? We got all this other bullshit? Summer Walker's so good. Shut the fuck up. This shit sounds terrible.
That's just his personal opinion.
Black people have ruined something that we made, something that got a lot of people out of poverty because they could sing their heart out. They had a talent. We ruined that for ourselves. Fuck black music.
But see, that's the problem with how you're thinking. Okay, we have the most power we can have right now. Social media. Becoming a content creator is one of the powers average people can actually have. You know, a pastor, if he was famous on social media, that's a more powerful way to spread his message. This is how you can actually affect the masses, by having a voice. A voice is very powerful, more during this day and age than ever before. Whether you agree with him or not, I gave you an answer to what you asked. How can I affect, or how can I change how people view other people? This is how, by speaking up about it. I did a stitch to this, and I said, I honestly believe rap music has been a danger, has been a detriment, has been a net negative to the black community, okay, than it has been a positive. Okay, it has tarnished the image of black people, of the black community. It has it has created a generation upon generation upon generation of boys that want to be rappers, that wants to be thugs, that wants to be perceived as criminals, and women that wants to be booty shakers in these things, so wants to be over sexualized in these things. So that's where I'm not a black person, but that's how I see those things. Those are those are negatives in my personal opinion, and that's how you actually try your best to affect change. No one is God. No one is the ultimate judge and executioner of anything. But this is the thing where I said this before. Where I said this even about women, right? In the man and women dynamics, we have took away shame. No one is scared to look bad for their community. No one cares. This is why I said the sinners thing, why I had such a vitriol reaction to the booty shaking, is that no one is scared to show that to the public eye. Twerking is okay, to share that to the world. No one, because this is a thing where this is why a lot of Asian countries are more modest. They're more modest than other communities because they don't want to show a negative light to the rest of the world. So
it's a problem with being a voice on social media. Yes, you have the power to. You can put your viewpoint out there for other people to listen to. But people, and this is what I'm trying to tell you, people pick and choose who they listen to, and that's how the world works. And they listen to people who reinforce what they already believe. So And I'm gonna and that's a good, because that was my next point. I'm gonna get to that next. We were talking so fast. I do want to talk about that. But so if that guy gets online and says black music sucks and here's why, and he has all these examples, right? If I get online and say no, it's actually kind of great. Here's this, that, and the third. If you already think black music sucks, and you see both of our videos, you're going to like his more, and you're going to listen to his more, and you're going to share his more, because that's how people work, right? So I'm not really changing your viewpoint on anything. But here's the other thing. That guy completely ignored the fact that the most popular rapper, the biggest deal in rap right now is a guy named Kendrick Lamar. Have you followed his career? His entire career, from when he started, from mixtapes, was about building a black image. Have you listened to what he talks about in his raps, right? He talks about his albums are basically about here are problems with where I was raised. Here are problems in the inner city. Here are problems in America and the world and the community. And here's how I'm trying to be better and make other people better. Here are things that I've done. He raps about going to therapy, right? He raps about being about learning to be more kind to people, about the complexities of dealing with how to of unlearning bad things in this life and learning good things in this life. People don't hear any of that, is my point.
Kendrick is one of the most popular artists, so
he's amazing. So why is that guy online talking about how black music sucks? Why doesn't he?
Because you literally said it, right? One person, like you said, you gave your analogy. One criminal can't represent it all, so you can't have two. You can't have it all, right? You can't say one thing.
I said people highlight negativity and ignore positivity. So if I put positivity out there to help change the image, it gets ignored.
Here's the thing where I'm sorry, I don't disagree. Negativity does outweigh positivity, but this is
what am I supposed to do?
Because what you said, right? What you said a little bit ago, where how can you change other people's point of views, or he only caters to his audience, you only cater to whatever. But this is the thing where we never realize that people can change. People can be affected by words. I've said this before, where I was a 100% Democrat maybe about 10 years ago. 100% Democrat. I could change. People can change their minds. I think that's a lose. That's a weak victim or poor mindset to. Oh, I can't change people's views. So you know what? Oh, whatever.
Well, no. But I'm saying while you're saying right now that black people, one, don't care about their image, aren't speaking up about it. You have not brought up any of the videos where people are. All right, look up Tupac Shakur on Oprah Winfrey.
Speak about it, bye.
So they had the same argument about rap. It's tearing apart the community, right? They're not listening to it, so they're picking and choosing what they want to hear. But when he gets on and can actually explain himself and talk to them, it opens dialogue. But the problem is people don't listen.
This is a thing where I think that's a weak.
I don't think it's weak.
Way where I think so, because you think that people don't listen. Is that
when NWA? What if I brought up NWA? What would you think about? What's the first thing that comes to mind? For most people, they made a song called "Fuck the Police," right? And that's all they heard. They didn't listen. They didn't listen to the actual song, so they don't understand.
They don't have the interview,
huh?
They don't have that interview.
It's got to be on YouTube. If there's a way for me to pull it up,
I'm literally on YouTube. Tupac on Oprah, and they're not. I think they
unless I'm getting it wrong. Maybe it wasn't Oprah. Maybe it was like Sally Jesse or something like that. But you put Tupac on talk show.
Okay, let's see. Let's check it out. I think this is it, right?
I think that's it.
The music made me do it. That's what Ronald Ray Howard claimed. Now, the officer's widow is suing Tupac and his record company for $100 million. What do the people claim, though? Because there were some lyrics in the song about cop dusting or something like that, right?
Well, actually, the story that they were talking about is called Soldier Story. And it wasn't about killing cops at all. That's just what the media took, because you know they're going to take what they want. It was about somebody who was so scared of police brutality that he panicked when they pulled him over. It showed how his life fell apart. Now I got a murder case. At the end of the story, he died. Caught a bullet in my head. The screams never left my mouth. My brother caught a bullet too. But I think he gonna pull through, because he deserves to. This fast life ain't everything they told you. They never get much older. The problem, the trap of the soldiers. But they didn't say that. They didn't talk about none of that. They just took what they wanted.
The media generally has portrayed Tupac in basically a negative light.
Your song, I Don't Give an F.
I start the song out sitting in a paddy wagon, and the cops are bragging about beating up another brother.
What that shows is what the media on any day is able to show you about anyone's life. And in reality, people live their life on a day-to-day basis.
So I feel like my job is to tell a story, the whole story, and I can't censor whatever you say, censor it or making it right. It's still censoring it. You know, we all got to have the knowledge of what's going on, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, so you don't advocate cop killing.
Not at all. I don't advocate violence in any way.
I'm just curious as to whether the song that he was listening to had anything to do with cop killing, or
no, I'm not. I just said I don't write songs about cop killing.
But it did have the lyrics in
six
there.
of the songs on your album mention cop killing.
No.
Oh, that's not true.
No. All my
That is
songs
not
talk
true.
about police brutality and self-defense. Now that's something different.
If we're going to talk about police, this man over here is in a really rough area, and he puts his life on the line every day.
I got so much respect for him for that, but look, we have to live in the same neighborhoods without bulletproof vests, without backup, without walkie-talkies, without guns, without tear gas, without pepper spray, without batons. So now we have to fix the problem.
Pac knew that media is a machine that you either work with it or against it, so he worked with it. These people don't see it every day.
No, but what I would like to see is for children in our country to have a better future than what you guys have. And that's not going to happen when he's repressing his generation and his people by saying they have no hope.
What do you know about my people?
I know a lot about your
You
people.
know about just because we charity, give money, wipe the guilt away, does not mean you know about the young black man in today's society.
What would you say is the answer to that? Violence?
No, it's making music is what I'm doing now. It sparks dialogue, and that's how laws get made. That's how change get made. I see no changes.
Do you see the point? Like even after he explained himself, the lady wasn't hearing him. You see what I'm saying?
But this. But I wanted you to hear something too. What he said at the end. Okay, spark dialogue.
Okay.
That's how you make changes. This is what I want us. Right. This right here is magic, in my opinion. This is what I'm talking about. I'm not saying I don't like your point of view, and I know how you talk with me. I love this. This is what.
No, this is great. Like
this is what I mean. Like this is what sparks the dialogue. This is what changed people's mind. Whether you agree with me or agree with you, it don't matter. I'm not here to fight people on what you should agree. What do you do? I'm here like to make people think, make people talk. That's what I want. That's what I want. I think that's the beauty of it. And this is why I love making videos with you, right? Spark dialogue. That is what I want us to do. But this is the thing where this is like Tupac he's not an icon for no reason. Okay. I think Kendrick with a bit more time will be up there as well. But this is the problem. For every one Kendrick, we have, I don't know, 10 no-name, upcoming, still influential, high social media influence rappers that don't talk about the same things. So I don't disagree that we had, this is the thing where I think was another comment that said, correct, rap music did pull a lot of people out of poverty, right? You were talking, but this is the thing where I think music did it. Entertainment did it. Yes, rap did it too, but this is the thing where, and it's not like saying a subgroup did it, but already the main group already doing it. No, music was doing it. The problem is that I think even in this one where we are forgetting that this is why I said we're shame, where caring about your public image is important. Okay, caring about your public image is important because we don't care, right? Everyone who's not Kendrick speaks on the worst of it, and that's why we're not keeping it in check. That's the thing I'm talking about. No one is caring about, because it's fine, right? It's fine that you call bitches and hoes and talk about drugs, talk about violence. It's fine, but we have one Kendrick. That speaks about meaning.
I don't think we have
more purpose.
one Kendrick.
Something more powerful. I think that's great, but again, that is not in totality.
I don't think we have just one Kendrick, and I understand. I don't like all music today either, right? But I also don't think that if you really sat down and listened to most rap artists, you wouldn't hear a lot of the same things, right? Talking about their reality and problems that they're dealing with, and trying to figure out the ideas to get you to understand what's going on in their lives. Now, I get it. There's also a lot of rap that promotes unfavorable things, drugs, violence, sex, actually promotes it, as opposed to because some people, they don't listen, they just hear the word bitch or hoe, or they hear a mention of drugs and they think that's all the song is about, instead of listening to what the person's actually saying. If you listen to what the person's actually saying, you find out that way more rap than you realize is actually about something. It really is, even today. But here's another thing. If rap were so bad, right? If rap were so bad, why aren't people chastising Jack Harlow, Eminem, right? Tekashi ain't black. How many rappers out there who are popular aren't black? There's plenty of them, right? So if rap music was such a danger, why do they have such a big fan base?
Well, we're old enough to know the controversy with Eminem.
But
he had plenty of controversies when he was at his heights.
Right.
And now Jack Harlow is not really. He doesn't really rap about. I don't think he raps about bitches and hoes, but he does glamorize being with women and stuff. But he doesn't necessarily label them bitches and hoes, nor does he glamorize weed or violence and stuff like that. But this is a thing where I think white people really go about it differently when it comes to rap than black people do. So I would say that they skirt the line differently. But here's the thing: where, like I said, I'm an avid rapper listener. I'm not saying this is a thing where, in my personal opinion, I have loved the whole, the Kendricks, the Kanye's back in before he was crazy.
Yeah,
all these.
He's nuts.
All these other people. But this is a thing where it is something that the negativity it outshines the beauty or the positivity. But why I think that is because of how you think. You don't care about the public image.
It's not true. You keep saying I don't care, but here's how you fight a public image. You put part of fighting a negative image is putting forth a positive one, right? Right?
Not the only way.
But here's the thing. If nobody ever looks at the positive image, how can you put forth a good image?
But how can you say no one does?
I'm not, but that's because, what do you mean? We just talked about how we watched an entire movie, right? Full of positive images. And what's the thing that stood out? What are we having a whole discussion about?
Well, it's a big conversation. We still have a lot of videos.
I know, and I'm not just ragging on you, but my point is that's what people do. That's what I'm saying.
No, but I said this right. It's about the landscape. I said it. I think if this movie came out 10, 20 years ago, I wouldn't even think about it. I wouldn't even care.
I'm telling you,
the problem is the landscape we have right now.
I'm telling you that the landscape is great black creatives, great Black actors and artists, great contributors to our society, a Black president who I wasn't involved in like any kind of scandal, right? Still got called a monkey. His wife still gets called a man, right? Here's my thing. There's so much. If you wanted to point to Black positivity, there is an endless trove of it, is what I'm saying. And yet we're still having a conversation about this lady still has the nerve to get online and talk about Black fatigue and why are Blacks so ratchet and what's wrong with their communities and why don't you go out and fix it, and doesn't see any of the positivity. That's crazy to me.
You know, because
that's crazy.
This is the thing, because it's been drowned out by constant talk about
It's
race.
Drowned out by people who don't want to look at the positivity. They're the ones drowning it out. That's my point. They're the ones drowning it out. A lady, no matter how much good I do, that lady's still going to get online and complain about what she doesn't like about my race instead of minding her business. And that's going to get shared, and then more people are going to talk about it. And then all of a sudden you have a whole ton of people having this whole conversation about what's wrong with the Black community. There's problems in every community. Ours are the only ones that end up representing all of us. That's my point. I'm not saying that there aren't things to worry about, that there aren't problems, that people aren't doing bad things that need to be addressed. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that these kids on the streets should be carrying guns and being part of gangs and stealing, robbing, and shooting. But every time we see it happen, it happens in white communities, and it happens in Hispanic communities, and it happens in Asian communities. It happens. But multiple things are true. One, not all of those communities are corralled together in big groups.
Well, like actually, what are you talking about? All of them are Asian communities. They go with Asian communities. White people, they go with white people.
Yeah, but so are there giant communities where only Asians live?
Yes.
As big as Black communities, because city,
because Asian communities are smaller than Black communities.
I'm not blaming anybody for that, but I'm just saying that.
No, here, let's watch more videos so we can get more narrative, right?
Against Black people. We are in a moment of anti-Blackness on steroids, and we refuse to be silent. We will not back down in our pursuit of racial justice. The antidote to anti-Blackness is to be pro-Black, and we will do it unapologetically. The United States government owes us a debt, and we need reparations now.
The Democrats have finally made their way back to promising the Blacks that they will indeed receive their quote-unquote reparations. And as a matter of fact, these two individuals right here, Morpheus and Friend, are putting together a piece of legislation that's going to tax you and I as a taxpayer more than $1 trillion in order to make up for slavery. Now, I happen to be
unpaid dues, you should say, and you would get that money. But go ahead.
You were enslaved and you were working for free. You deserve to be compensated, right? All that was taken from you must be given back to you. I do believe that. And here's the thing. Literally, nobody I know living today was ever in that circumstance.
You are so obtuse.
Nobody.
So obtuse. That's
nobody that I know and have heard of was ever on that plantation. So
how does generational wealth work?
To do it on the basis of, I don't know, ancestry. Those who came before you within your own lineage. Okay, let's get into that conversation. Let's try for 1 to 2% of the population actually own, quote unquote, own slaves, because you technically can't own another human being, right? 1 to 2%, which means that 98% of the white folk that y'all are looking at crazy, that you believe owe you something, don't owe you a damn thing.
The United States.
Let's break it down even more so. A majority of the concentration of wealth in America during the times of antebellum slavery were in the North and were consistently in the North. You see, the agricultural South produced a fraction of the American economy. These are the facts.
I don't know if
So
they're a fact.
when we get to the conversation of reparations, if we really run these numbers, I would say there might be a handful of people who are going to be owed a couple of dollars at best. If anything, some of y'all might owe.
That's
So
enough.
if we're going off of Granddaddy says,
So what I'm you like a little while ago you just said that why is the negative portrayed, or why doesn't people care about the positive, or why don't we focus on the greatness of the Black community? This is the problem. This is what overshadows the greatness, where, like I said, promotion of victimhood, promotion of you need to drain, you need to reparation, you need people are racist, everyone is racist against Black people, anti-Blackness, all this stuff, where this is what overshadows or hurts the positivity, where hypothetically a white man, he can't enjoy LeBron winning a championship when, in his ears, he sees this woman saying, "You're a racist. So much anti-Black. Reparations. We need to take from you to give to Black people." Then, so why does he care about LeBron's greatness when he has these politicians or these influencers, thanks to social media, thanks to entertainment, talking about he's the terrible white man? He's the one who is putting down Black people, putting down the Black community. He is doing it. Him, his wife, his children, his neighbors, they are putting down Black people. That is why, and honestly, where this is what creates the Black fatigue. This is what creates the not caring about, not focusing on the greatness of, Black people, because where, like I said, this is why I'm against this. This is why I'm against this, because shit like this will overshadow the greatness of the community. Because I said this before, I think Black people, Black community is so cool. They are cool people. But again, what overshadows it for me is this victimhood mentality, is this no accountability. Because here's the thing where you just said, right, generational wealth. Let me say this. My family is one generation, me, right? My mom just came here, immigrants. We have already created generational wealth. My family has already created generational wealth. Now, I've said this, I don't disagree with how ugly the past is. What I disagree with the victim mentality where, I can't accomplish anything because of the past. That is where me and you will never see eye to eye, which I hope you could see eye to eye in my more point of view, because I don't disagree with how the past is. I disagree with how people use the past as a shackles for their present. Because here's the thing, even Africans, straight up Africans, come in here, they have higher family income, and they're poor. This is the thing where I hate people saying, it's rich immigrants coming. No. Most immigrants, they're coming here dirt poor. They're coming here dirt poor. Hell, they're coming here not knowing the language, not having no support system, not having no community really. They come here dirt poor, and they are nose to the grind, working like their bones off to create that generational wealth, to create the difference, right? Because here's the thing where we're in Philly, right? Washington Ave, right? You've been there. Mm-hmm. Full of Asian stores, full of it. We built practically an Asian block. Mm-hmm. That's the thing where that is the community. That is how you push each other to strive better. Not focusing on in this world, in the US, Asian people are just as oppressed okay, because they are being they are being put down. They experience racism a lot, but they don't care. It's nose to the grind. Create something that's tangible. Owning homes, saving, budgeting, money, businesses to push themselves, not complaining about, oh, I'm a victim. Oh, I need reparations. The past is slavery. This, all these things that, you know, that we're talking about. It's a forever shackle that I'm seeing more and more of, and it overshadows the greatness of the community, i.e., the Black community. And that's where again, this is why I love this, that we have different views. I do want to try to change your view, but I still love that we have different views. But this is the problem where I want, as the audience, I hope you can see the difference. I hope you can see that, again, this does not benefit nobody. I don't disagree with the hardships that the Black community has faced. What I disagree with is how they use it to shackle themselves, that they can't do anything without, one, assistance from the government, two, the oppression of other people, to right wrongs that not even they have felt, but their ancestors upon ancestors have felt. That is a danger.
I think there's a movement in this country to erase history and change history and turn it back on us. Like there's this idea that asking for what you're owed is actually asking for handouts, and it's going to tax everybody else.
Are you owed it?
You know what has, first thing, you know what has never happened in the history of the United States of America for Black people? Reparations. Haven't got a dime. It's never happened. All right. So we're talking about fantasy, first of all. Nobody's been hurt by it except we've heard about it. Haven't received it, right? Now, do we have precedent for it? Yeah. Do you remember what the United States helped do after the Holocaust? Right? They sectioned off an entire piece of land to send people back to Israel. There were plans to build a place like that in the United States for Jews. And I'm not even insinuating that it shouldn't have been done. My point is,
wait, can we, before we can do this, right? This may be controversial, but direct reparation, I agree. Assistance, I disagree. America has spent billions, if not trillions, to help the Black community. Section 8. You can name all these programs that's
another spin. Because for conservatives, or for those who don't think that the government should be offering assistance,
whether they should or not, but it's already happening. It's a fact.
They make it a thing. They make it a Black thing.
No. Whether Black or not, I'm saying that it is a fact that Black people are using it. The government. We are spending billions upon even if trillions for the last 50, 60 years for the Black community, whether it's meant just for the Black community or not. I said it, right? Yes, reparation. No, we're not. It's not direct reparation, but it is still a misconception where, oh, Black people don't get nothing. I think that's a misconception that's wrong, because a lot of programs for the government, Black people predominantly, if not, I'm not saying predominantly, Black people use, if not predominantly use. So I think that's a terrible mindset to think about, that, oh, the government never does anything, but the government does a lot. I mean, they have done a lot. Okay, so I don't necessarily think, because that just fuels the victim mentality.
To avoid offering assistance to people of need, we make it about race. That makes it more acceptable to the public who doesn't need to use the assistance. But Yes. For instance, when it comes to public housing, yes, black people are the majority. A quick Google search shows that 48% of public housing goes to black people. 39% goes to white people.
Well, they're poor white people. I mean,
that's but nobody's saying, oh, these white people are draining our government and we shouldn't have assistance for them. It's only that's another thing.
I just told you, right? White people are not complaining.
What are you talking about?
Who are people saying reparation? What people are saying that the government needs to give them more money? What people who say that our system is racist against us? This is what I'm talking about. We are constantly, you know what? If we can ever agree on anything, if we can ever agree on anything, I'm more for the ideology of the rich versus the poor, more than black versus white. That's where I would if we would talk about that. I'm more on board with that. Because we constantly distinguish ourselves between colors, and I fucking hate it because honestly, I have cared about the black race for most of my life. I'm tired of constantly separating us by race. I see more logic in thinking about our class, thinking about rich and poor. But this is where I'm tired about, where this is what divides us. Because here's the thing, that reparation hurts poor white people as well, right? Because honestly, it's okay. Poor black people deserve it more than poor white people. No, this is the thing where this is why this system makes more sense, because it's, it's help the disadvantaged, period. But we still have more videos. I want to get to a lot, right? So let's watch a bit more and then we can continue talking a bit more.
Going around called black fatigue, and essentially white people are growing tired of black culture, of being told that they're the victims, all this rhetoric, right? Now, mind you, I've seen it and mostly talked about on the perspective of black ghetto individuals. Mind you, there's a clear distinction between black people and ghetto individuals, okay? Black people are people that think for themselves, that are just in existence, but then there's ghetto. But there's two extremes of black fatigue. There's Don Lemon, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, like those type of people that are well-spoken, like normal people, that are forcing rhetoric down people's throats, right? Saying you're black, therefore X, Y, and Z, right? Then they're just as, I think, as extreme as the ghetto black individuals, the black culture of rap, and that's not what black is, right? Pants sagging down. People are tired of that. But not even just the fact that people are tired of those two things. You're a white individual. You're told, just because of the color of your skin, that you're an issue, that you're an oppressor, that, you know what I mean? Like, you're the problem, right? So they're being told this dialogue that is exhausting, to tell that no matter what you do, you will always be an issue, right? But then in the same breath, the ghetto or the other extreme, right? Barack, those type Don Lemon people will say, you're the issue, but you have to help us. Why would people want to help someone that is just blaming them constantly? That's exhausting. But hear me, black people, okay, like myself and so many others, right? We're tired of being grouped into that mess, hearing it. The black community, majority, do not take responsibility. We're tired because we want to progress in society. Asian culture is thriving. There's so many cultures, right, that are taking responsibility for things that have happened. Don't victim blame others and themselves, and they're not living in oppression mentality, right? They're free. Black community, we're so enslaved up here that it projects onto every dynamic of society. Police brutality, white people mad, all this rhetoric. It's so exhausting. So yes, rightfully so, white people are speaking up because they are exhausted. We're exhausted too. We agree. We, normal black people, okay, we are tired of hearing it too. The rhetoric of, oh, Carmelo Anthony was right and justified because he got bullied and this and that, so therefore he can unalive somebody. That's exhausting. Oh, the black community, black on black crime doesn't exist because X, Y, and Z. It's the white man's the issue. It's exhausting. Black fatigue. We're tired of it. We're tired of the ghetto. We're tired of the Don Lemons. We're tired. We just want normal folks that can think for themselves, have opinions for themselves, don't project blame onto people, take responsibility, take accountability. I'm done. That's my rant. Anyway, happy Mother's Day.
This is a thing where I'm not looking to change you, but I hope I can steer you. But you know what? Even if I can't, I still love it. Like I said, having opposing point of views is still amazing. So, what are your thoughts? I've shown you a couple of black people saying honestly exactly what I'm thinking, but in a black person's voice, so it's less triggering because it's not coming from an Asian person or a non-black person. Because people get triggered if because I'm Asian, I talk about black community.
So, just hear me out on this.
I'm hearing.
Systemic racism and oppression is so layered that fighting it or even talking about it is exhausting. It's like there's no way to not talk yourself into a circle having that discussion. That's how layered it is. That's how many different complexities there are to our history and our present. To counter one argument, I'd have to make this argument. But if I make this argument, it doesn't counter that argument. You see what I'm saying? There's for instance, the idea that I could say, hey, look, black people aren't criminals. Yeah, well, your jails are full of black people. Like, well, it's not all their fault. Like, well, you're not taking accountability for your actions. Like, there's so like every argument leads to another argument you have to fight your way out of because the oppression is so layered, right? And it includes not just laws and policies. It's things that are stated, that it's laws and policies that are in place. It's laws and policies that are in place for our benefit that aren't followed. And then on top of all of it is perception. And the thing that I think you and I are talking about, and I think you said it a little bit earlier, and we're actually kind of arguing the same thing. Class is like a real division. There's the rich, and the rich is not a lot. And then there's the middle class, which is really mostly low middle class, and it's really poor. And then there's poverty, right? And that includes everyone of every color, not just black people. So I don't want to have a discussion that excludes poor people of any color. I think they deserve what's right and fair. It is true, though, that black people have had a hard way all the way up to this point trying to play catch up, and a lot of other things that have happened to us. But then if I argue that, I'm arguing against what I believe about classes and distinction. The point I really want to make, especially when it comes to our image, is that we do care about our image. I care about my image. I care about the way people see me as a person and as a black person. I think throughout history, we've cared about our image. I think we scream at the top of the lungs about our image. Hey, we're human. Hey, we're regular people. Hey, we're not different from you. Hey, we deserve the same rights as you. Hey, we should. Yes, there are good and bad blacks. There are blacks who commit crimes, but we deserve the same sentences as you, right? we don't want to delineate between color, between race. What happens though is for all our screaming, for all our trying to set a good example, for all our trying to do what's right, for all our trying to make other people understand what we're going through and that we're the same as you, we still get pointed out for the negative. And here's the thing, it's exhausting. So you can tell me, why don't y'all care about y'all image? When I and those who have come before me have been screaming about our image. But what we get tired of is being ignored. And if you got ignored enough, you give. In fact, if you could yell at me till you're blue in the face about how I should do what's right with my money, right? You have. I bet it's exhausting sometimes when I don't, right? Frustrating even. If I completely ignored you and did what I wanted to do all the time, and you've helped me a lot. But if I completely ignored you, blew up, Dan, you were wrong. I can do what I want with my money. Eventually, you'd give up. You'd be like, all right, well, look, I'm not even going to talk to you about it anymore. That's where we're at when you bring up the black image. That's what
I think that could be used multiple ways. Because this is the thing where I think. Let me say this. I honestly believe that older generations had cared about their image. I honestly believe younger generation in the last, let's say 20, 30 years, I think this whole start about where race has become a topic every fucking week, that is when the start, or where we see the downfall of, black public image, where it's more prevalent. It's more, no care, right? No care about, actually policing the public image, actually care. Because in my opinion, right, it goes along with, this is why bring back shame, because nobody is shamed. Nobody is shameful of how they act to the world, how they are viewed by the world. And that's what I'm talking about, where I see that more and more, where honestly, they don't care, right? We have, and this is the thing, this is why I'm, let's see more, let's put more videos, because this is the problem where, what I'm talking about, okay? These are the problems what I'm talking about.
The video you just watched is now circulating X and it's going viral. And people are calling this kid Austin Metcalf 2.0. And people are even calling for Shiloh Hendricks to be at this playground. These people have positively identified the following information: the location where this happened, the child's mother's full legal name, birthday, email. They basically got her information without her permission, if you know what I mean. The child's mother's location of employment, which is a government job, and numerous images that are so bad I can't show you guys. And they're saying that the family of the white child doesn't want to do anything, and that the parents are Jeff Metcalf 2.0. What seems to happen is that they were making body contact to the white child while his back was turned. That was frustrating him, so he confronted them. And then while he was walking away and had his back turned, they continued to touch him again. But not only one kid, but another kid too. I'll keep you guys updated with this.
We don't care about, this is the thing. I mean, this is just one. I'm showing you these a bunch of videos. This is the thing where, again, we don't care what we're doing. This is why I think having a voice is important, because this is the problem we're seeing. This is part of the whole fatigue. This is part of the whole tiring. Why white people in particular are feeling fatigue. They are feeling oppressed. They are feeling hurt. Because this is the thing where socially, I honestly believe socially, black people have more power than white people socially. and you are feeling that in society, where a white kid got injured, yet socially they are trying to target the white family for some crime. So it's like, but that's just one thing where I'm just showing you a bunch of examples. Here's a
Times Square statue that was just recently put up.
We probably won't talk about the statue because it goes into more, but
Just pass you. That's not gonna help you in the long run. You're gonna have to do math outside of school every day. Yes, you are. Okay, so let me ask you something. You at the grocery store, $25, right? It's 50% off. How much you gotta pay? $25? Okay. Oh yeah, you go in there and pay $15. You're gonna get ran off on every time. That's what I'm saying. You gotta do math every day. It's not 15. 5 or 25, $2. Okay, yeah. You're gonna get ran off on every day. This is why it's so important for you to go sit down and do that Khan Academy. Why won't you have to calculate it? Yeah, but what if the register is just like you, wrong? Now you paying more money than what you're supposed to, right? You know, machines can like go down, fail, right? Okay. All right. Next question. Do you need to grab? You might need to grab. So you got a job. You work $10. You get $10 an hour, right? You work for 8 hours that day, 40 hours in a week. Exactly.
Hobson, okay, this is okay. Nobody's shamed for their massive toy collection as a grown adult either. Here's the thing. Yes, they are. You know how many times I get comments of trying to shame me. So really, yes, we actually do shame adults that collect. So really, yeah, that's stupid. I just had to point that out. That was idiotic. But okay, fine, whatever. But here's the thing where I don't claim victimhood. So really, shame me or not, I don't care.
So you asked $2,500. $2,500, you lost a lot of money that week. You lost a lot of money that week if you got paid $2,500. In the start, you was supposed to get $3,200 on your paycheck, and you only got $2,500. But you thought you was only supposed to make $2,500. You know why? Because you just asked me to pass you during Algebra 1, and you will never have to do math again in your life. I just gave you 2 instances where you actually gonna have to do math, like, on at least on a daily basis. Jobs, gas prices, shopping. That's an everyday thing, right? And you didn't get neither one of those answers right. You were not close. 2,500 to 32. That's $700. You know what I can do with $700? Imagine losing $700 every paycheck. That's $1,400 every month. You can't do nothing with that to pay bills. You can't do nothing with $1,400. Is everybody okay in here? I just go.
I thought that was funny, right? I love it, but it's part of the narrative where this is the thing where I'm talking about, where we are not caring about the community, right? Why I say that, why I wanted to change your mind is because I hope I could change other people's mind, because you are good representation of how the left feels, right? How a lot of Black people feel. But this is in my opinion, it's maybe the red herring, or maybe the problem, right? That people are using to distract people on what's actually the problem. Because here's the thing: what I'm saying, our education system, especially minority, especially within the Black community, is at its all-time worst. They are doing worse now than they did 60, 50 years ago. That is insane. That Black children, especially Black boys, are doing worse now than they were 50, 60 years ago. They are definitely doing worse than when we were kids. So this is the thing where I'm saying that this is that reparation is not going to help this kid do math, but it's going to distract the Black community from focusing on actually trying to improve their community, trying to improve their people. So that's just one thing where I'm saying that, great. I've said this countless times before. I don't disagree with the past, and I've learned it. I know it. Okay. The problem is, I find it is that it's the shackles. Because here's the thing with let's say me with you, okay? You just said we've talked about this before, and you just said it too, where you are such a hard person to really for you to improve. Okay, so imagine how other people are now, right? I said this before. I think what would even the playing field for Black people is not reparation. It's logic, right? It's education. That will even the playing field. Because honestly, I said to you, how you can become, right, like level up, you won't even do it, right? Or put 100% of yourself into doing it. So really, let's say this. Let's say tomorrow the government sends reparations. Here's $1,000 for every Black person for you. That's not going to upgrade you tomorrow because $1,000. Oh, I gotta go fix my car. $1,000. Oh, I gotta pay this bill. That's gone. That's done. On to the next thing, because that's the thing where what is the quote say? If you give a fish to a man, he survives for a day. If you teach him to fish, he survives for the rest of his life or whatever. This is the thing where I say the problem with victimhood, it clouds your brain from what needs to be done. I said this before. I said this to other people where the power we have is what we have right now. Social media, YouTube, the internet. You can do exactly what the white person do. I can tell you this right now. A couple years ago, I was dirt poor. My account was negative or zero. And I made practically $40K a year while my accounts were zero. Thanks to education, thanks to discipline, right? Not wallowing in my victimhood, not wallowing in whatever, like, oh, I can't do anything. Oh my God, the world is unfair. Fucking yes, of course it's unfair. But you know what? I'm not wallowing in it.
People aren't wallowing in
persevere. I'm saying as the community, I think the community is wallowing.
I don't think so. And that's part of.
Well, I think the internet. I think internet community, in my personal opinion, is wallowing in it.
I think people who don't want to hear about it characterize Blacks as wallowing in it. That's what.
Why would you need to hear about it? That's the thing. That's why you grow fatigue. You don't need. This is the problem with me and you growing up. We didn't hear about this, but now as older men, we are constantly hearing about it.
First of all, me and you didn't grow up in the internet age, right? So
I know that's
you hear about everything on the internet.
And I think that's
no way around
inundated by it.
So if someone whispers on the internet and everybody sees the same clip, they're like, "Oh, here we go again. We're being inundated by this one viral video."
That is the poison. That is the poison of the internet.
Calm down. What makes it worse is that people who want to get online and complain about being inundated about it and cause an echo chamber. It's not. Black people aren't wallowing in victimhood. This is what I believe. Let me just state this. I believe that one, Black people aren't wallowing in victimhood. I believe that two, most of the transgressions of against Black people in America have not been addressed. All right. And I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for it to be addressed. But we've been asking for so long for it to be addressed and it hasn't been addressed. And now asking for it is being characterized as wallowing in victimhood. But who cares? Who cares? I wouldn't even bring it up. Remember, we started this when I got on. We started this discussion with a video about a white lady complaining about us, right? This is how it happens so often. Like I find myself defending me and my race, right, against her complaints. When if she hadn't made a complaint, I would have gone about my day and never thought of it, right? I got a meal in the fridge. I'm gonna heat up when we're done. I was.
I think you ate. You didn't eat already?
No, but I wasn't hungry earlier. It's fine. It's fine.
What the hell are you doing, man?
I'm just saying it wasn't. What I'm saying is that it wasn't even on my mind. So
well, I'm not. See, this is the thing where we're talking about. Yes, I mean this is why I like to preference internet with real life shit, because honestly, yes, a microcosm. I said this already. The regular black people, the average black person, is not even thinking about a white person. He's not thinking about racism. He's not thinking about. I agree. I think this is the poison or the problem with the internet. It's like so prevalent. It's such a big thing in each one person's life. But honestly, their life is not that representation of that, right? But again, I want to do it where I want our program to be counter programming to other stuff on the internet. That's where I'm going for.
I got you.
That's what I want to try to accomplish.
And I'm happy to talk about this with you, man. And these conversations, they're great. I'm just saying that. It feels like I feel like the way our culture is right now, I feel like I have to defend myself against being black, and then I have to defend myself against defending myself. And after a while, it gets fatiguing. So if I say I don't care what you think about me to somebody who's complaining on the internet, that's because that's a person who doesn't care what my actual image is. They only care about what bothers them. They haven't taken time to step back and see a whole picture. So if that person's not going to take a look at what's real, and instead they're just going to focus on what irks them and just complain about it, I can't do anything about what they think or what they see. I will always get online with you, and there are other people who will talk about ways that the black community, I guess, can improve, or ways that a younger generation can improve, or we can have productive discussions about how to better handle your money, how to be disciplined in bad situations, how to deal with relationships. I think offering advice with some compassion, that's a whole nother discussion that I want to have about American culture. It's compassionless, I think, which is
one of the things why I do want to talk about all this stuff, right? Where I'm coming from with my argument is that's the problem. Where let's actually play this video.
Okay.
Let's play this video and where I get it.
This is why people have black tattoos. They had the nerve to say what you don't do. That's crazy. Where they, and when these videos go viral, when these things happen, do you think that lady will respect black lives, or do you think she just created a racist? Someone who will now look at black women or black people in general and say, I don't trust her, I'm scared, or I'm afraid, or... This is why people have black fatigue. Begging for money. And he says, okay, I'll help you, but I'm not giving you cash. What? And then you're going to threaten someone who offered to buy you food and Pampers? When he notices he's recording, that's when he switches up. Crazy. And he's still willing to help you. Crazy. Okay.
Why I showed that is that, and why I love our show, right? When I love it when you're on is that why I have black fatigue is that it's black. Stop it with that. I'm tired of this. I'm tired. As much as we argue, I'm tired about the reparation. I'm tired about, oh, this white people are racist. I'm tired about the talk about systemic. I get the past. It doesn't help our present nor our future, because all these talks, all these thought processes, all these ideology, it is only dividing us. It is only hurting our community. One, it's definitely hurting our community. It's dividing us, and it's making us neglect actual problems, right? Actual problems. It making us neglect actual problems. Instead of us blaming police officers for killing black people, we should be worrying about why are we killing each other? Why are we doing that? Instead of worrying about, oh, the system is oppressing us, why aren't we helping our community strive for better? Why aren't we teaching our community what generational wealth is? Because this is the thing where one of your things you said about generational wealth, but here's the thing: to create generational wealth, black community needs to learn to save and invest. Okay, have discipline with their money. Black community don't do it. All right, so really, even if you solve for systemic racism, which I don't agree with, I don't see that as systemic, but even if you magically think you solved it, it doesn't change habit. The saving, budgeting, it doesn't automatically just pop in some people's head, because it's already there right now and people don't do it. You are an example of that, okay? In the sense that it took it like pulling teeth to get you to where you are right now. So this is the thing where I'm saying that, like, why I talk what I'm talking about, because like I'm tired of we should be more the human race instead of black race, white race, Asian race. Because this is a thing where we are a country of diversity. Okay? The US should be representing human race, not separate races. Other countries, like I said, they are countries of one race. So how they live, that's how they live. We shouldn't be using that mindset in this country. We should be trying not to see the differences in us. We should be embracing the differences. But we constantly make it known the difference. You have to see the difference. You have to see the difference. Black people have to be different. There's differences. I'm tired of that. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I want to change and try to steer away where, you know what? Why I say, I agree more about the rich and the poor, because in my opinion, if let's say the black community can level themselves up, right? Whether it's they're more middle class black people than there are poor black people, I honestly believe that will even the playing field even more to be less so-called racism, because people will see more equalities. People will see, oh, wow, you're not different. We are actually brothers and sisters in a sense, right? Even if our colors are different, we are more like brothers and sisters. That's what I want to accomplish. That's the goal I want. And I believe the mentality we have now is dividing us. Because here's the thing. Like I said, when we were kids, that was not happening. We had such a diverse group of friends. I cannot believe of racism. I cannot imagine racism. Even though, when we were growing up, we were busting on each other. We will make fun of each other's skin tone. We will make fun of, being Asian, how we talk. It didn't matter. We were cool with that shit. I had friends busting on me, like using Asian shit, right? That's fucking, that was community, right? I didn't fucking care, have tough skin. But now, God forbid, right? God forbid we say something about each other's race. That's racism right away. And that's where I find the divide now, right? We are not promoting unity. We are promoting division. So that's where I'm like, more hurt by. What do you think?
I think, okay. I think there's plenty that you said that I agree with. I think there's plenty that you said that I disagree with. And just that last minute and a half. And I also think there's too much for me to address. That's how complex I think the issue is. But I will say this. Just because this is what the show is about. Will take me for instance. I'm working on it, Dan. I'm working on it. But I'm not bad with money because I'm black.
No.
I'm black with right. And that's a microcosm of what my overall point is. People aren't a certain way because of their color. They're a certain way because of a lot of different factors. It can include their culture or their history. Or
I want to say that, right? I don't think you're bad with money because you're black.
Right.
Here's my controversial opinion. I think you're bad with money because it's your culture. Because culturally, saving and investing isn't a big mindset in the community.
What percentage of the country is? I have to ask you. I just want to. I'm just asking these questions as things to think about because I don't know the answers myself.
Mm-hmm.
What percent of the country is rich? One. What percent of the country is saving and investing? What percentage of the country is bad with what percentage of the country is low middle class and what percentage of the country is poor? And percentage, not by race. I'm just talking about percentage.
I think about 20% of the country have six figures.
Okay.
16% of American household makes over six figures.
Make over six figures. 16%. Okay. So,
and that includes, white, black, married, all that stuff. So,
I think
Black Pill, what's up?
Black Pill, that's cool. So I think
that's not cool.
It's not cool. The Black Pill. I don't know what the Black Pill is.
Don't say that.
It's something else. Never mind. I take it back. But I think my point is my point is.
But no, this is the thing. This is why I more agree with rich and poor. That's the distinction. I would be more behind. That's the thing where I think that's more of a problem for a community than difference in races.
I think I'm kind of saying the same thing. I think American culture I don't think it matters the color, which is why I don't want to say, hey, look, black people are bad with money.
It wasn't when we were growing up. That's what I'm saying. But nowadays it is. We're inundated. We're constantly talking about it. Because let's say this. Let's continue a little bit, right? Let's continue a little bit. Why I say we're inundated by it. It's constantly about it. You might know about this. You might know about this stuff.
Debate after a fan accused the crowd at an has sparked debate after a fan accused the crowd at an Indiana Fever game of making monkey noises at Angel Reese during her free throws. The WNBA quickly condemned racism and launched an investigation, but the reality appears far less dramatic. The controversy began when Twitter user at NiaBoo136 alleged racial harassment at the game. Her claims gained thousands of likes, but she hasn't provided evidence of being there. Despite this, the WNBA issued a statement addressing the allegations. Fans reviewing game footage soon discovered the noise in question was a laugh, mimicking YouTuber Flight's viral chuckle. The sound likely came from someone near an ESPN microphone and was amplified on the broadcast. Inside the arena, fans reported hearing no such noise, debunking the claim of widespread harassment. Angel Reese seems to be an unwilling participant in this situation, as the viral narrative placed her at the center of a controversy she did not create. The WNBA's swift response, though well-meaning, may have fueled unnecessary outrage without verifying the facts. A viral
I'm not done yet.
Well, this is what everybody's yapping about. This is where Clark and Reese get into it. Watch this foul, intentional right there. But like, there's a little LeBron in there with Reese, right? It looked like she flopped a little bit. I'll slow it down for you. But as you can see, the bench is kind of semi-clear. And Caitlin got off the screen. She's way over here, just minding her own business, wants no part of that hubbub on the other side. Angel's still fired up. Here's the play. Watch Reese shove Caitlin's teammate right in the back. Caitlin sees this, points to the ref like, hey, are you going to do something? And when there's no foul call, she'll go over and intentionally foul her arm. But watch, I don't see a shove. I mean, watch, hits the arm, and then here comes the LeBron. Oh, the big floppy shit. There's Angel on the ground doing her best LeBron impression. So this is where Caitlin walks off because she knows it's crap, right? So they review the play after they break everything up, and they determine it is a technical. So Reese is going to get a technical shot. In my opinion, this is complete poetic justice. I mean, look at Caitlin. She's pissed. And watch, here's your free shot, girl. What you going to do with it? Brick. Oh, my God. It's hilarious. Well, this is what
I figured this might be more up your alley, but let's play this.
It is no surprise that opening weekend of the new WNBA regular season is starting off with races targeting Angel Reese again. The reason why this is a big conversation regarding how both the league as well as media is treating Angel is because 2 days prior, you have the WNBA come up with a campaign that is said to basically protect players and the rest of the league from hate, mainly racism, because it has been a notorious problem, but it's become amplified within the last year with this incoming class and a certain player's fan base. I will not name on here. The WNBA released a 2-sentence statement saying that they are investigating. Black women truly have not had a week of rest. From the internet discrediting the abuse claims made by Cassie, Halle Bailey, and Megan.
I want us to talk about the Cassie shit. Not today, because that's going to be like.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
I definitely want us to talk about Cassie stuff.
Ooh, there's a lot going on there.
From their abusers to the state of Georgia keeping a brain dead Black woman on life support because they wanted to experiment her and make her an incubator, to now we have the media tearing apart a Black woman for simply playing a sport and doing her job. I mean, the only positive I have is that I got to read Can't Get Enough. Other than that, it's been the worst week. It is no surprise.
Well, this is what everybody's yapping.
The amount of hate and racism that Angel Reese receives just for simply playing a sport that she loves is truly ridiculous. It is truly sad in the year 2025. Not gonna lie to you. And no matter what side of the spectrum you're on, if you're a decent human with integrity and honesty, you can say that you see it. It doesn't matter if you're a Caitlin Clark fan. It doesn't matter if you're an Angel Reese fan. It doesn't matter if you're both a fan of both, just like I am, because I'm a fan of both. It's truly sad. I can get on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook and see a highlight. It says Caitlin Clark had 28. It has nothing to do with nobody else. I go to the comments. All I'm gonna see is Angel Reese, Angel Reese, Angel Reese, Angel Reese, Angel Reese under Caitlin's post. Like, I feel like so many people want to make Angel a villain when she does nothing but play the sport just like every other player in the WNBA, and I just don't understand it. And it all stems down to one thing, and we know what that one thing is. We know what it is. I find it so hilarious that anything that has to do with Angel is just blown up, and that she.
This is the problem I'm saying, where it's always racism, because you are a sports fan. You know how it's not about racism. Sports are toxic. Fandoms are toxic, right? They will go crazy. But here's the thing where this is the problem with women not understanding sports fans. They will go crazy. This is, in my honest opinion, this is what you wanted. You wanted women's basketball to be talked about. Well, guess what? Women are not flocking to women's basketball. Men are now, not women. So really, guess what? You wanted popularity, you're getting it. Because for years, we have recognized men were toxic in other sports. It's just how it is. Okay? Men go crazy. Men don't do sports leagues, fantasy sports league because of whatever, because they go crazy about it. So really, it's but this is a problem I'm saying. It's always race. It's always race. And what made it worse is because people see it as race, especially when the whole start with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. So now it's always going to be about race. And this is where this is why I prefer my rhetoric to try to stop, right? Stop thinking about race. Stop it. Stop thinking about race. And I want to break away from it. I want to break away from it. But we have it nowadays. It's always about race. That is my argument. That is my stance. And it's poisoning in us. It's poisoning us. Right? That is the problem. Okay? In my personal opinion, and I'm not a big basketball fan, definitely not a big, WNBA fan. So I thought, like, you know what? Let's say the starter of Clayton Clark, because I don't know how big you know about them.
A little bit about them both.
Yeah. So people should have celebrated Caitlin Clark, both white and black, because she was the one to bring attention, notoriety to the league, like no other or female athlete in the sports. So, but no, they wanted to balance the field to put Angel Reese on par as Clayton Clark. So now they said, oh, if you don't make her as notarized, right, or as noticeable, or as famous or whatever as Caitlin Clark, it's racism. It's racism. Now people are gonna just dive into the racism thing, the ideology, and that's the thing where I'm saying is like, stop. It's like we're constantly trying to divide ourselves, right? We're constantly trying to make things worse than it is. Because here's the thing: there were plenty of white people, right, white women in the WNBA before Caitlin Clark. Plenty. None of them pushed the league. So it's not necessarily about race, but she's white or not, is because she has a fan base. People liked her. Period. It's not, I mean, maybe it's because she's white, but honestly, like I said, there were plenty of white women who went to the league, and the league sucked before. Okay? It sucked.
I don't know if all right, so
100% it sucked. It was a money loser. It's still a money loser. But again, it's the thing where it's because of her, it's getting notoriety. And instead of embracing her, no, you want to humble her because she's white, and you need a black woman to be the face. It's like
I don't know if that's the case. And here's the problem with it. You can make a similar argument the other way around. So, like, actually, I think Caitlin Clark is the better basketball player and the bigger star. She also
definitely the biggest star.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen some highlights of her, so
but she's also lost to Angel Reese going back to college. So they have an actual rivalry.
Well, I think they won this game.
Yeah, they won that game. But like back in college,
well, that's basketball. People win and lose all the time.
And that's where it started when they were in college, and Angel Reese and her team took out Caitlin Clark's team for the championship, I think it was, or on the way to the championship. So I think Caitlin Clark's better, but they're on par, and they're both very competitive.
You know what? I think someone said this, right? The problem what they did is that they should have made them friends, because they said one where, what was it? I don't know if it was true, right? Bird and Jordan, or Bird or Scotty or someone, right?
I think Magic.
Yeah, Bird and Scott, where they were not on the same team, but they made them as the face of the league. They should have made them more friendly, yet they made them more rival. And I think Angel Reese had that problem. I think she should have marketed herself better to be friends with Caitlin Clark.
Oh, I don't see.
But I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. I think maybe people have that perception. I think that's where now that's where I'll start to think that race is coming into play, because really they have a regular sports relationship. They're rivals, right? And in a competitive sport, and they compete. and sometimes they talk trash and make faces with each other and everything like that.
Yeah, that's why I think it's just sports, but like people make it race. That's the thing where I'm saying like that is the problem. That's the root. That's the image of the problem I'm talking about. Where this I show videos. This is what exemplifies the problems we're having. It's constantly about race. This is why I want to go. This is why I'm going back to the original thing. Why there's fatigue. It's always about race. It's always about race. And this is why people will get fatigued. And this is why people will fixate on the negative because they're tired. You always want to talk about race? Fine. Let's look at this. Negative there. Look at that. Negative there. Instead of, you know what? Let's not think about race and let's not fixate on it. And let's not villainize anyone. Let's not make anyone the villain of the story, and let's just live a story. And then just it's just that's the problem I'm seeing.
Man, it's a complex issue. Like,
I mean, it is. It's a complex thing. This is why I love. This is why this shit like this is important.
I want to be, and I think most Black people want to be just recognized as people and treated as such in the fairness same. The problem is, so half the time we don't want our race to come into to be a factor. But we know a lot of times it's a factor on site before you even know who I am. That's frustrating. Also, though, if you ignore race, you ignore a person's experience. That oftentimes gets thrown out with race sometimes. So this is what I mean by it's complex. So
let me say that.
I want you to treat me like you would treat anybody else, right? I want you to think of me like you would think of anybody else. I don't want you to have preconceptions about me because of the color of my skin. But I also want you to recognize that I may face difficulties you haven't or go through things you don't because of the color of my skin. So, but that would mean recognizing race. So do you see what I mean about it being complex?
Well, here's the thing where I feel like we make it a complex by make it looking at different. We could just we could look at it at a different lens where we all experience shitty things.
I think we all do.
All go through different things. But it's like you said, oh, it's about my color. No, it's just about being human. We experience different things, right? Like I said, let's say if I get hollered at with racist remarks, okay, whatever. So what? I don't think about it as a racial lens. I just think about you being treated like shit. That's it, right? Instead of like, oh, you're racist. No, you are just a shitty person to me. That's it. And this is where I want to think about it in a different lens is because I want to create where we're not fixated on our race, where your life experiences is not marred, overshadowed by your skin tone. Your life experience is Addison, is you, not the black man. That's the thing where it kind of just takes away your identity and just makes you a black man instead of who you are inside. And that's the thing where I see that this is that's the problem we're having is everything is about race when honestly it's a scapegoat in my opinion, right? It's using it as a scapegoat or maybe needing therapy in a sense where if you think about it, we are fixated on race because now we want to see ourselves as different between white, black, Asian, stuff like that, where you know what? We're all human beings. Life is unfair for everyone. We all go through struggles. It kind of combines us more, right? In my personal opinion, we all go through struggles. We all face difficulties. Unfairness is everywhere for everyone. Instead of, you know what, it's unfair for a black person. I have black people struggle. No, I honestly believe it's a detriment. It's a danger. It's an unhealthy way to think. It's unhealthy way to live. Because here's the thing, right? I've said this in other videos. As an Asian man, growing up, I did not want to hang out with Asian people. I felt that they were too cliquey. I felt they were too exclusive, inclusive, or they didn't let other people in. I didn't like that. What I loved about black people growing up is that they were so inclusive. They were so open. They were so inviting, right? You were invited to the cookout, that kind of shit. I love that. I love that about black people, that they are open arms. But this is the problem. That should be the image of black people. That, instead of, you know what, I hate white people. White people are oppressive. White people, I don't like white people. That's the thing where I find that such a such a black eye for the black community. Because like I said, I think one of the most beautiful thing about black people, they're cool as shit. They are so inviting. They're so loving. And I think that, right? That is the image I see in my head of what makes the black community. But what I'm seeing now, I'm sorry, that is not it. It is victimhood. It is no accountability. It is blame the world, blame everyone else besides myself. And you know, it's always white people this. It's always white people that. It's like, stop it. You know, because here's my thing, right? The most biggest groups in the US is white and black. And if they're at war, God forbid any other race can even succeed.
Okay, but like,
and you know what? This is the thing. This is not a thing where we don't need to agree. It's like I'm fine with it too, right? Because that is the power of this show, right? We don't need to agree. I want to have the different point of views, and I want the audience to see how do you feel, right? If you agree or not, that's how it is. Okay. I just want to open the minds to everyone for the dialogue. That's the thing, right? I think one of the biggest problems we have in our country right now is that we can't talk to each other. If we have opposing views, we can't talk to each other. And I think that's show more of the divide. It is fine for people to have different point of views. I encourage it. What's not fine is that we can't talk to each other.
Yeah.
We have to hate on each other. And I think that's a sad thing.
No, I agree with you, bro. I agree with you. I'm glad we got to talk about it. So.
And you talked a lot. I love it. I love it. You talked a lot in this episode. So I'm gonna have you. We talked a lot, so I'm gonna have you end this out. You know, it's already been 2 hours. You know, we all gotta, do our adultly things, right?
Yeah.
So I want you to talk as long as you want. This is your opening. I mean, your outro. So your thoughts tonight. How you feel, whatever. So you'll end it.
My outro. Okay, my thoughts, I guess, on tonight's discussion.
Yeah, everything. What are you thinking? I mean, you could still reiterate your point of view. I mean, I'm not gonna go against it because you have the last word.
Oh no, so I don't know if I have any other points to make other than I think I think racism and discrimination are real things. There are problems in America that haven't been solved. I think a large as a black person in America, I think a big part of that problem is perception, as opposed to reality. I don't think the internet is a real place. So I mean, I love it. I'm online all the time, but I don't think it's a real place, and I don't think that a lot of people understand that, which is unfortunate. I think that causes more problems than it solves, but that's okay. It is what it is. I do think that the point you made about being able to talk about our different views is really important. Is one that I think is important too. I think being able to talk about it being willing to listen and being willing to offer grace and compassion to the person you're talking to or listening to is important. That makes productive discussions. They said the biggest success that happened in South Africa after apartheid was, and this was championed by Nelson Mandela. That's why he's such a hero over there. Not just because he ended apartheid, but encouraged speaking about it. And the general attitude of that entire community and country was, I think they said, instead of they did do a thing where instead of punishing people for the roles they played in harming others, they offered immunity. And what they did instead was they talked about it and admitted to it. And it led to, has to fix every issue that's happening over there, but it led to a lot of progress. I think sometimes because we get tired of hearing about something, we shut ourselves off from it. That's a problem too, that can prevent progress, because you think one way and you don't want to hear anything else. And that's what, when you refer to black fatigue, people, I'm tired of hearing about it. It feels to me like you don't want to listen to me. I'm not talking about you. I'm not saying you in particular. I'm saying, but when people say that, it does feel more like you don't want to listen. And it's a lot to talk about. So I get it, but I don't know. I'm kind of rambling. I'll end this way. I'm glad that I can talk to you about it, Dan. I'm glad that we can have a discussion. And even if we don't agree, you are the man. And I'm glad I had a chance to be on the show with you.
No, I love it. This is a thing where I hope you guys please subscribe, please comment. I love it. Right, this is what, in my opinion, is the power of the people talking. Just talk. Right, we're not, no, not all of us can be, I don't know, something revolutionary, but we all can have our bit of influence. We can all share our piece. I disagree with you a lot on this, definitely today, which is awesome. We can disagree. That's the beauty of it. We can disagree, because this is how we did this conversation, which I said it's going to be hard to find any kind of co-host, because they're not going to do it like this, where we didn't need to talk over each other or argue or just be emotional in each other. We are able to talk. We're both able to have our voice, and that is important. But yes, I love it. This is amazing. I think this was a great conversation. It is a very deep conversation. I think this is a never-ending conversation right now. So, but it's a good conversation to have. And this is why I said in the beginning, where that is what we need to do. Have the conversation. We can do something, right? I want us to show that we can make a difference, or even the smallest of difference, because having a voice is important. But yes, hope you guys like it. Stay tuned. I'm gonna, there's gonna be more in the future. Hope you guys like this live. Sorry, it's a bit weird. I had started another live because, I wanted to include my friend, because I love these conversations. So it's much easier and better to talk to somebody instead of just talking to myself. So yes, I think it was fun. But yes, hope you guys like it, right? Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you all for checking out. All right. Later, guys.
Take care. See y'all.